I think Trenthony is referring to the reach out method. You're talking about where you potentially see a good deal and you reach out to them, right?
Yeah, I have a friend.
Oh,
He's
okay.
doing pretty good, and all he does is reach out methods. He doesn't post any ads or nothing. He's getting a lot of phones doing it that way. I tried doing it in my area, but it doesn't work too good. I guess it just depends on the area.
I think it just depends on your area. In my opinion, my professional opinion, I think the reach out method is a strategy that will always work. However, it depends on your area for how successful it's going to be for
All
you.
right. Actually, Luke, I hate to butt in on you, but can I give my opinion on it? So, I started doing it that way, and the problem with that is that I've found is that it does work sometimes, but the problem is when people post them, they already have an idea in their head of what they want for it, and that usually that idea is pretty close to market value. So like a lot of the times, let's say you reach out to someone who has an iPhone 7 for sale for $200, they're not going to accept the offer that you need to be at where you need to be at, say, $100 to make a profit. So that's when I got in with you, Luke, was when I was doing that originally. I wasn't posting my own ads, and I saw a huge increase in my profits and my revenue when I started posting those ads.
Right.
So it's not that it doesn't work, it's just that it's not very efficient.
Well,
Yeah.
so kind of going back to what I was saying, basically what I was trying to get at is it does work. It depends on your area. But what I would do and what I would use that method for is if you're driving in a car and maybe it's not so easy to post your own Craigslist ads, I would use the reach out method then. You and your girlfriend are going on a road trip on Saturday, and let's just say you're going to a city an hour away that's got a decent population. Pull up Craigslist ads in that city before you get there and start reaching out to people via text message on Craigslist and just send out a bunch of texts, start talking to people, start trying to wheel and deal. I think the method is good for that. But as far as the reach out method, as far as it being your primary source of phones by trying to reach out to people who already have them posted, what Josh said is true. A lot of people who have their phones posted, they're more educated sellers. They already know kind of the basis of what the market value is going to be of the phone. It's not going to be, a extreme deal, because if they're educated enough to post it on Craigslist and they're going to take the time to post it on Craigslist, they're obviously going to want fair value for it because of the fact that they know what the phone's worth. They are willing to put in the work to sell it themselves too.
Basically, I was going to use the method, like you said, if you're going out of town to like a major city, I was going to go to like Orlando for maybe a couple of days and
absolutely.
try to see if it works.
I think anytime you're going to go to a major city and you know that you're going to be there for 2 or 3 days, my advice is the day before you go, post 5 to 10 Craigslist ads with your number, and then obviously when you go over there, it's a good idea to use the reach out method. Hit up people on Facebook Marketplace, hit up people on Craigslist, and see if you can get those people to sell you their phones. Another thing you could do is you could try hitting up local flippers that have competition ads. Try and text them and ask if they have any phones for sale. Maybe they got 10 or 15 phones you could take off their hands, even if you're only making 30 to 40 bucks profit. Maybe you could cut a deal with them. Maybe your direct buyer contacts are better than theirs. That's another thing that you could do. So I definitely think the reach out method, if you use it right, it's kind of situational, but if you use it right, I definitely think you can make decent money with it.
Yeah.
So yeah. Going to Orlando, huh?
I'm thinking about it, but I'm only like an hour and a half away from there, but it's kind of hard for me to take my family with me, and it's hard for me to leave my family to go do it too. So, and I figured just going there one day won't do nothing. I would need probably at least 2-3 days.
I would, if you're gonna go to Florida, I would make a 3-day weekend out of it or take a week trip, because there's a lot to see in Florida, and especially if you got your family with, obviously they're gonna want to do stuff, so you're gonna have time in that. And I definitely get what you're saying.
In Florida. I'm like an hour away from Orlando.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know you were that close to Orlando.
Yeah, but see, people in Orlando, a lot of people in Orlando, they don't have cars. They can't come to you.
Right.
You got to drive to them. Sometimes you drive to them, they don't show up, and it's a waste of time. And I don't know, man.
How far away are you from Miami, Trey?
Oh, Miami's super far. It's like 3-4 hours.
Oh, yeah. Miami's a pretty hot area for phones. I can tell you that. When I was down there was a crazy amount of phone business going on. There's a lot of business in Miami.
A lot of competition out there, too.
Yeah, there's a lot of ports out there. A lot of people are paying pretty high prices in Miami, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So a lot of the people who are Colombia, and they've got connections overseas, etc. Then they're all down there at the ports. They're buying phones. So interesting business, depending on the closer you get to the coast, the better prices you're going to see and the more competition you're going to see as far as people actually paying good prices for phones, not just small time flippers that are doing it, out of their parents' basement. I mean, there's some big people near the coast. So
Yeah.
for sure. But anyways, guys, into tonight's group chats. Obviously, welcome everybody. Welcome Manny. Welcome Josh, Trey, Will, and anybody else that ends up joining us tonight. If you guys got any questions, problems, drop them in the group chats, and we will answer them tonight. Just type it out in the group chat. Tell me what your question is, and then I'll unmute you, and we'll do that. But tonight's video, I kind of want to do some mindset stuff. One of our members here, Will, was talking about this. He asked, I think it was like last week, just asked me to kind of get in depth in the next group chat on goals and mindset stuff. So what I want to do is I want to go around in the group chat tonight, and I just think it's good for people to hear everyone's perspectives. Everybody's got a different look on life. I mean, sure, we might all have the same goal of being financially free, having financial freedom, or just being extra out there in the world. But I think everybody's perspective and wording is a little bit different out there. And so what I want to do is I want to go around in the group chat tonight, and I want to ask everybody, what is something that you learned in this business, and what is something that you wish you knew when you first started, and what is one of your goals? So 3 things, 3 short questions. So if everybody's willing to participate in this, it should be pretty cool. And if we could do this, I think it'll be really great. And then I want to talk about how we all got to these goals that we have set for ourselves. How are we working towards them? Because goals are extremely important. If you don't set any goals, I don't really think that, the accomplishments are ever going to add up. So anyways, that being said, I am going to unmute Will. Will, do you got a microphone?
Yeah.
Okay. So what is one of the things that you wish you knew in phone flipping? And then what is something that, what is something that motivates you? What is a goal that you have?
One thing that I learned is probably better negotiation stuff.
Okay.
When I started, I didn't really negotiate at all.
Sure.
I'm not great now, but I'm a lot better than I was. So
Okay.
that's one thing that I learned. And then one of my goals is to buy apartment buildings. That's kind of what I want to do long term.
Okay.
So that's one of my big goals.
Yeah, I think that's a really solid goal. I think real estate is awesome. If anybody else in the group chat wants to comment on that in the chat, that'd be great. And then last thing, what's something that you wish you knew that you know now?
Probably that things don't really go exactly as you planned. So like the first thing that I bought was an Apple Watch, and it ended up having an iCloud on it. So I lost a little bit of money on that because I just didn't know how to check it, or that I even needed to check it really. So just that things don't really go as I'm planning on them,
Anything can happen in this business, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Well, for anybody new that's joining, we're basically going around. We are talking about something that you know now in phone flipping, something that you wish you knew, and a goal that you have. Like, what are you using phone flipping for? Whether it's to scale into a brick and mortar business, or maybe you just want to scale out your home office business, do a ton of business right from your office, do it online, mail-ins, whatever it may be. We're just talking about goal setting a little bit tonight in the group chat. I think it's a good thing to touch on, every few weeks. It's nothing that's going to get you behind. Talking about goals is only going to get you ahead. So I'm going to unmute Trey, because Trey's got a question. He just asked it in the group chat. So Trey, you want to read that question out for us?
Basically, I was saying, like, say someone's trying to sell you an iPhone XS Max, it's Verizon. Most people that have Verizon, they feel that they don't want to sell their phone that cheap. That they say it's unlocked and whatnot, right? You check
Right.
SIG-W, everything's clean, and you pay the price. I mean, you're still gonna make profit, but not as much as if you would have bought it at bad ESN price.
Right.
And then who knows, like 2 months later, whatever, the phone goes bad ESN, and then you get a return. You just lost out your profits.
Okay.
Like would you still pay the bad ESN price, or would you just say,
Okay.
just buy it as clean and take a risk?
So let me ask you this, riddle this. When you say clean, are you saying I'm running this Verizon XS Max on SICW and we're getting back a check that's saying that it's SIM unlocked?
Yeah and no. Like let's say if it didn't say SIM unlocked, but it still showed up as clean.
If the phone does not show SIM unlocked, I'm going to assume that there is a balance on the phone. If it's not showing SIM unlocked, I'm going to assume that it's recently financed, and I would give them, I don't know if I would give them a complete bad ESN price, but I would definitely give them a price kind of somewhere in the middle between clean ESN and bad ESN, just because of the fact that more oftentimes than not, people end up not fully paying the phone off after they sell it. A lot of people selling their phones, maybe they have good intentions to pay it off, but after they get that quick cash, they go and blow it, and then they don't end up paying their phone off.
Yeah, so basically if it says SIM unlocked, then basically the phone's paid off, then it's good to go.
Yeah, if the phone is SIM unlocked, the phone should be paid off, clean and clear, good to go. It was either paid off in full at the carrier, or when it was initially purchased, it was paid for by a credit card. And
Actually,
if the person blacklists the phone or submits an insurance claim or does anything odd like that, if you're shipping it to a direct buyer, as long as it still says SIM unlocked, you're still going to get that SIM unlocked price. There is one thing that used to happen with Verizon phones. People could finance them, and then they would show unlocked the next day. But if you watch some of my YouTube videos, I posted an update a few weeks ago. Verizon is no longer going to allow their phones to unlock instantly anymore. So a lot of people didn't know this. Basically, direct buyers were cashing in. People were selling them Verizon locked phones. And then the next day, the direct buyer would hold on to it. And basically what would happen is they would basically cash in by selling them overseas as unlocked, and they would never credit the sellers. So that's something that was going on, but Verizon is no longer going to be doing that. So something to kind of watch out for.
Yeah.
But yeah, so be careful. I mean, if it's not paid for, it's not a good idea. So, oh boy, I think my girlfriend got locked outside. So I might have to go let her in. I'm in my group chat. She called me. She knows I'm doing my group chat. So I don't think she has keys on her key ring. So she's tapping on it. That scared me. If you guys don't mind quick, I'm going to go let her inside. I don't know what else it would be. So I'll be back in like 20 seconds flat.
All right.
If you guys want to just wait, I super apologize, but I'm sure you'll be hearing about it if I don't get up and go do it right this second. So just hold on one moment.
All right.
so how's everyone else's night going while Luke's gone?
Hey, it's pretty good.
Nothing much. I've been trying the reach out method a lot. Like I've been trying to go on like OfferUp and just just randomly lowballing people and see. I got one girl to do it, but then she lives too far. She's like, I live like 2 hours away and shit like that.
Yeah.
I don't
The
want to make
problem
that
with
drive, and
the
then
thing about
she
the
has an
reach out
excuse for this
method
shit.
is it is effective, but you're not going to get anywhere near the same closing rates as you would if you were posting your own ads. So you're gonna get rejected 8 to 9 out of 10 times. But 1 in 10 times someone's actually going to accept your low ball offer. And you just luck out, and that usually happens about maybe 10-15% of the time. So you just have to be prepared for a lot of rejection when you do that kind of thing. But when I do that, I'll do it when I get bored and I'm uptown. So I live about a half hour from the nearest town, which I usually tell people like I live a half hour from the nearest Walmart because that's how far out in the middle of nowhere I live. But when I'm out in town and I've got nothing going on, I'll just go on Marketplace and I'll just lowball. I'll probably message 150 people an hour.
Yeah.
Like, I'll just be sitting there for an hour and I'll just keep message after message after message, and I'll close maybe 5 or 6 out of that 150, but it does work because, 6 phones out of 150 is still 6 cheap phones, and I'm a real low baller. So, I could make $500-600 in profit on a deal like that.
So like, all right. So like, when you're doing it, like, are you just hitting the button that says if it's available, or are you just sending them a random number?
No,
Like, how do you start the conversation?
No, actually, that's a very good question. So I do not use the preset buttons, and here's why. So when people get those preset buttons, have you ever sold anything on Marketplace?
Yeah, every day.
Okay, so when you post something on Marketplace and someone texts you and says, "Is this item available?" How often do you respond to them, then you never hear from them again?
Well, the first response I always send to people, I said, "Yes, when can you meet?" That's the same response I always use.
But you know what I mean? Like if, let's say you have 100 people message you, "Is this item available?" and you message them all back right away and say, "Yes, it's still available." Like 75 of them are not going to reply after that. They're just going to stop replying and disappear. So the reason I'm telling you that is because you're going to have that problem on the other end. People don't like to respond to people who give "Is this still available?" They'd rather respond to, if you say, let's say it's an iPhone 8 and it's worth $300, and you text them and say, "I'll give you $120 cash right now." And I'm an asshole about it. I'm going to be completely honest with you.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
will flat out. Someone wants $500 for an iPhone 8. I'll mess them and say, "Hey, I got $150 cash in hand." And they might hate me. It is what it is. Like,
I mean that's the way I've been doing it all the time. But I noticed, like, if you do the available thing, it gets them engaged, and it seems like you're serious and you really want to buy it. They'll consider your low ball a lot more often than you just randomly flat out saying, "Hey, I'll do 150."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
See, I don't know about that. Like, I'm not saying that you're wrong, but I'm not saying you're right either. Like, I just don't know if there's really I haven't tested enough to know if there's really a connection between drawing that kind of suspense and whether or not they accept the offer more often. But it's an interesting idea. I wonder, I have to play around with that and see if it happens more often,
Yeah.
I'm just saying, in my experience, I've just always done it the same way. But yeah, the thing is, the reach out method just doesn't work as a standalone solution. Like, you can't make $100,000 a year just reaching out to people and buying stuff. You have to be doing a little bit of everything.
Yep.
So that's why I think when people talk about, like, the effectiveness of a method, like, within reason, I don't think it matters, because I just do everything, right? Like, I don't worry about, oh, well, this isn't effective, I only get 20% closing rate, I'm not going to do it. I just do everything,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is Luke back?
Yeah, I'm back, guys. Sorry about that.
Oh, there you are.
Yeah, it just kind of depends, I mean, the different strategies. It's definitely something you kind of got to play with you're in your own area, because everybody's going to be different. Everybody's area is different. You kind of got to try a little bit of everything, and then eventually, you'll end up figuring it out. That's the best thing. That's the best thing that you can do. Obviously a lot of the strategies work for everybody, but there's just going to be some strategies that are going to work 10 times better in your area, and they just might not work in somebody else's area,
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
The phones that I like to buy a lot right now, I notice, are like AT&T phones, because like a lot of people feel that the AT&T, even when it's not paid off, you can still use it. A lot of people, like, they don't realize that you can still use it on AT&T, Cricket, and Straight Talk. So I've been making a lot of profits from that, taking advantage of people like that. So it's been
absolutely,
definitely. But yeah, everybody, we're gonna keep going around in the chat tonight, and we are going to. I'm gonna ask Manny and going to ask Josh. Because Trey went and then Will went, so Manny and Josh. Josh, I'm not sure. I know you are driving right now, but basically we're going around.
I'm parked right now, so I can talk. I'm good.
Perfect. We are going around in the group chat right now. Basically, I want to know, what is something that you wish you knew when you started phone flipping? What is something you know now? And what is a goal that you are working towards?
Ooh, okay. So I got a lot. One of the biggest ones was obviously when I originally started, I was what we're calling the reach out method. That was all I was doing, and the ads definitely make a huge difference. One of the things that I didn't realize at first, and it kind of hit me later. This is more of a business thing than it is specifically with phones, but people don't really care that much sometimes about how much they're getting for phones. They don't do that much research. I was always worried, you know, listen, like this phone is worth 200. Is 120 a low ball? They're not going to accept it. They're going to know it's worth more than that. And the truth of the matter is, and maybe this has changed a little bit since when I started, but people don't really care a lot of the time. Like they don't know. They're not like, I know a lot about phone prices and whatnot. Most people don't. Most people aren't as well informed. And if I had known that 3-4 years ago, I would have been making the money I make now 3 or 4 years ago. You know, I always felt like I wasn't the one that had the control of the argument, or not the argument, the conversation. I felt like, you know, oh, well, I have to do this deal. I have to agree to whatever price they tell me, or else I'm not going to get the deal. And I had such fear of not closing the deal that I would agree to deals where I was making little to no profit.
Yeah, that's not good.
I'm afraid to open my mouth and say, no, I'm not going to do that. I'd rather not take the deal than take a deal that's not going to make me money. So that's definitely something that took a while for me to learn. What were the other two questions? What was something I wish I knew?
Yeah, something you wish you knew at the start of phone flipping, and what is a goal that you are working towards?
Oh, okay. So, see, I don't really have specific goal. I'm kind of like you, Luke. I kind of want to have it all. I kind of, like, some people's goal is like, oh, I just want to make enough to, you know, have a little bit extra with my job, or maybe quit my job. I want to have it all. Like I'm going to be honest with you, even since I was a kid, like I always, like, I wanted to be Bill Gates. I didn't want to work for someone else. I wanted to be rich. I always wanted, you know, like a Ferrari and all this shit. So I'm not going to lie to you. I have huge goals. I don't know if I'm going to be able to meet all of them, but you know, I'm optimistic. Something I wish I knew when I started. You definitely cannot make money buying phones that don't power on eBay, hoping they turn on and trying to sell them locally. I lost, like, my dad gave me, I think he gave me about $1,500 to start with. And at the time I had, you know, the 4 and 4S were like, they're about worth what, like the 6 and 6S are worth now. And so my first idea was, well, let me go on eBay and go buy 50 different iPhone 4S and 4s and try to get them to turn on. And I guess at the time we didn't all realize how bad iCloud lock was, but a lot of them ended up being iCloud locked. A lot of them ended up being like water damaged, stuff like that. And it just wasn't worth it. I don't think that's going to help anyone now, but if you were thinking about it, it's a bad idea.
Definitely. So,
and actually, no, I've got another one if you have a little bit more time.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is for any of you guys who want to open a store. I actually attempted to do it 3 different times. So the first one was when I was 16. I tried to partner with a guy who opened a local store about 5 minutes from my house. Second time, I tried to rent my own place about 15 minutes away from my house. And the third time was actually over this summer. I tried another partnership with a guy about 20 minutes in the opposite direction from my house. Definitely partnerships are always a terrible idea, almost all the time terrible idea, unless you were partners from the beginning. Like partnering with someone who already has a business or is trying to start a business, if you're not already friends with them and already partners with them, you know, most of the time it doesn't work out, and it's just a waste of your time, waste of your money. And for a lot of you guys, I know everyone's goal is to, you know, get a store and open a store. And I'm telling you, from the second time when I did try to open my own, it's way, way, way more expensive than you think. And Luke can tell you this. I'm sure you have a lot more firsthand experience than I do. And the money isn't always there opening a store, you know? Like, am I wrong? Correct me if I'm wrong, Luke, but I mean, what do you think?
No, absolutely. No, are you saying, do I agree that all partnerships are an absolute terrible idea?
No, I'm not saying all, but most of the time, if you're just walking into some new phone store and saying, hey, do you want to be my partner 50-50?
I think that it's very hard to try and go and offer a fair partnership to somebody who's already got an established business. Now, do I think partnerships are bad? No, I think partnerships are great. You have to ask yourself this. So if, let's just say I had a clone, and let's just say my net worth right now is $500,000. If I had a clone, hypothetically, the last 3 years, I'd probably be worth over $1 million now, because 2 people are better than 1. The question is, can the two people who want to be partners coexist within one another without stepping on each other, without belittling one another, without arguing like their brother and sister?
Yeah, and it's difficult to do. I'm not saying it's impossible, but just in my experience, it's tough to do.
Is there enough cash flow? Is there enough profit in the business model for the partnership in which the two people will not argue or have to fight over finances? If it is a business that is generating, say, $10,000 a month in profit, I definitely think that there's room for a partnership. If it's a business that's still growing, that is not very profitable, that's only, say, I don't know, let's just say they're only profiting $1,000 a month, I don't personally believe that that is a good business model for a partnership, because both partners are going to be scratching at each other's throats for profit and money and who's putting in more effort.
Yeah.
Because business, in a sense, really isn't paying much for itself.
Okay, well, then let me follow up with this one. You said $10,000 a month in profit. Do you think after expenses, after employees, after parts, after money for the buybacks, the raw profit at the end, do you think that in most areas, not like big metropolis areas like not something like Chicago or New York, do you think that $10,000 a month in profit in the first year or two is a reasonable expectation?
If you're working out of a brick and mortar store and you're also doing repairs, I think you could potentially hit $10,000 a month in profit. I mean, it sounds like a lot, but I definitely think it's possible. Cell phone stores weren't profitable. I know a lot of people that do have them, a lot of people who have multiple stores. If they weren't profitable, I'd imagine that they wouldn't be doing it.
I'm not saying that's not profitable. I'm just saying, like, and this is just for coming from
high profit. If they were not making good money, I wouldn't foresee them trying to open more and more stores. I mean, somebody who opens a store just off the get-go isn't a dumb person at all, just because of the fact that they're trying to be in their own business. It takes a special kind of person to do that. But what I'm saying is, anybody who is running a business, spending that kind of hours on it, they're probably making anywhere between, they're definitely probably over $5,000 a month, I would say.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's impossible by any means. I'm just saying, like, for example, my supplier, Cole Thornton, he has 3 stores in, I think it's Arkansas. And he was telling me, I was asking, like, be honest, how much do you actually make? He didn't tell me how much he paid himself, but I assume it wasn't a ridiculous amount. But he said out of about $2.4 million a year between the 3 stores in revenue, less than $200,000 in profit. So that leads me to that's total for all 3 stores. That leaves about $75,000 a store.
So you figure about 75
40 employees.
Correct. Well, and it just depends. There's a lot of different variables when it comes to owning a store. It depends if he's leasing all of them. Is he leasing them, or eventually is he going to own them? Does he own them outright? A lot of different ways that you can work this business. It just depends on, what kind of cards you want to play. If you want to go rent a commercial lease and you want to pay $1,500 to $2,000 a month, great. Or maybe you're better off trying to find a commercial building, get a mortgage for $1,000, spend $20,000 in cash, and remodel the place, make it a commercial location as long as it's zoned for that. And then in 10 years, or, probably not even in 10 years, if you're making basically $100,000 profit each year on a store, or $75,000, you could have the place paid off in 2 years, and then your profit goes up. So it really just depends on factors. Another thing is, do you want to be the cheapest repair store on the block and work off a lot of volume, or do you want to be known as the best repair store, and do you want to offer pricing that isn't the cheapest, but it's also not the most expensive? What do you want to do? So I know cell phone repair store owners that do buybacks, and they also do repairs, and they're making, I want to say this one person that I'm thinking of, I want to say we talked, and he said he was making like $20,000 profit a month. Now, he does live in a city where there's, 300,000-400,000 people. It's a pretty big area. But I mean, hey, that's a lot of money. I mean, that's no joke. $20,000 profit a month. So, do I think it's possible. I mean, I like to be optimistic. Do I think you should be upset with yourself if you don't hit $10,000 profit a month in your first year of opening a store? I don't think so. But what I will say is this: hit $10,000 a month out of your home office first before you think you want to go and open a store, because just know that technically out of your office, besides the foot traffic, you can scale pretty well with advertising and have minimal overhead. The only thing you're going to benefit from having a physical location is eventually, yes, you can hire employees. So you can basically be in 2 places at once. And then on the other hand, you are going to start to get known around town. You will get a lot of walk-ins, and then when you do deals with people, they will remember you better because they know you have an actual business. People forget when they just meet up with someone off of Craigslist and you meet in a McDonald's or a coffee shop. So that's just kind of something to keep in mind.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, I don't want to discourage anyone who does have a dream of opening a store. I just think it's tough to be, I think we have to be realistic here. And it's great to be optimistic, but you also have to be realistic and be like, hey, I don't want to set the expectation that you're just going to open a store and make, 130, 140 grand a year in profit your first year, and have enough money to do it. You know what I mean? Like, because I thought that same thing. I thought, oh yeah, I could definitely clear 10, 15,000 a month in profit. And it just didn't end up that way,
For sure. Yeah, if you guys
if you're gonna run a store, man, you gotta be able to do repairs and stuff.
if you set
absolutely. I've been doing repairs for years.
Yeah, if you're gonna start a store, you have to start doing top-notch repairs. It's just good filler work. It's good money. I mean, you figure you knock out 4 or 5 repairs in 30 minutes each, and you're getting $80 per repair. It's an easy $300-400 each day without even filling up your whole day. So,
yeah.
But yeah, Josh, I appreciate that.
No problem.
I'm gonna go over to Manny. Everybody, Manny does not have a microphone. He is brand new to the group. But Manny did message in the group chat, and he said he's using a desktop, no microphone at the moment. But first off, his goal is an extra monthly income of around $1,000 a month initially, just to help pay bills. The second thing, he said he wishes he knew about the phone flipping business earlier. He said he just started, zero knowledge in the phone flipping industry, but I've been watching the videos on your YouTube channel. He said, I'm a bit confused, though, if I should sell on eBay or direct buyer. The course teaches how to sell phones on eBay, but one video says direct buyer is the future. So basically, I would like to answer that, Manny. So what I think as far as starting out, you need to master selling on eBay before you go and sell to direct buyers. I think it's a good experience to sell on eBay. There is good money to selling phones on eBay, especially lower end phones that are cracked. If you're starting with lower capital, it's a great idea to, basically start just basically buying cracked phones, lower end phones, iPhone 6s, iPhone 7s, even iPhone 8s, just because of the fact that we are getting so many there's so many iPhones out there now. It's crazy to think that the iPhone 11 is coming out in November. So just kind of keep that in mind. But eBay is a great place. Direct buyers are the future if you have the kind of contacts that I do. But that's late game stuff. That's when we're talking. If you're doing over $20,000, $30,000 a month on eBay, then it's time to probably start, investing in your business and get some top-notch direct buyers. Other than that, I wouldn't worry too much about it, Manny. I would just worry about advertising for phones. Get those phones and then just sell the cracked ones on eBay and get it going. However, if you do have some capital and you buy some sealed phones, it might be worth selling them to a direct buyer. So anyways, everyone, we are coming up on, it's 8:10 p.m., so a little bit over 30 minutes for our group chats. Manny just said, awesome, thanks. Absolutely, Manny. Hope you enjoyed your first group chat, and I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Sorry it was a little bit late. We had some weather tonight, and the internet was just kind of in and out, and I hate doing group chats and then they just go down in the middle of the chat. That's absolutely the worst, and then I don't get a recording of it either. So anyways, I hope everybody had an awesome weekend. Have a flipping great week, flipping phones, pun intended, and I will see you guys all next week, Sunday, 7 p.m. Central Time. So thanks for coming out, everyone, and have an awesome week.
You too, Luke. Thank you.